Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Here we go. We're back again. Another week. You guys, we want to first of all say thank you for everybody watching our first pilot podcast. And it went so well that we say, you know what, let's get in here and make it happen again. So it's a new week. We actually give it a little bit of a name this time. We're going to call it On Second Thought, which, it kind of fits the perspective of mindset and sports. Here we really dig a little bit deeper outside of just the physical, but also just the mental part of it. And I thought that was such a befitting title. I would like to thank the fourth party of our team, of Team Allen, my beautiful wife, Michelle. She came up with that name On Second Thought. So we did have a little bit of a vote for it, but we settled on that name. But let's get right to business. You all know the players. I'm Elliot Allen.
Isiah Allen.
Aaron Allen.
So here we go. This was a very, very exciting week of sports. There's a lot to cover. I'm excited about it. Listen, the first thing on the table, the big fight. We had a huge fight this weekend in the New York area, in Brooklyn and Barclays Center. Tank Davis going against Lamont Roach. Tremendous fight. What can you say? It ended up being a draw. It's one of those things that in boxing, we can't do nothing else, but the guy's going to have to do it again. I'll set it off and just say that I thought it was a great fight. I thought the decision was rightful. Anytime you have a draw, you can say either one of the two guys won. So if Roach got the decision, I wouldn't be mad. If Tank got the decision, I wouldn't be mad. My personal opinion, if I had to pick a guy, I would probably say I think Roach kind of edged it out, but I was very, very okay with it being a draw. Very interesting fight. I thought that these guys clearly do know each other. I said that in their press conferences. You could tell that they have a relationship, and I didn't know if they actually battled in the ring together, but when that fight started, I knew that they did, because early on we have two athletes that know each other really well, especially in boxing. It's not a lot going on. You saw them doing a lot of fainting at each other, trying to kind of trick each other, but it really wasn't working. So when they would feint, the other guy was looking like, bro, I know what that's all about. So they didn't really bite on that. And those early rounds I thought was key, because I thought that Roach needed to kind of step it up, because he wasn't going to win those early rounds when nothing was happening. The second half of the fight, it got popping, but maybe those first couple of rounds cost him the decision. But great fight. Let's talk a little bit about what you guys thought. What did you think about that? What do you think? Did you think the decision was correct? Strategy-wise, Lamont, Roach, Tank, what do you think?
I genuinely believe this was probably one of the first fights where I'm not too mad at it being a draw. If I had to give it to somebody, I would have definitely gave it to Tank. I think Tank was starting to slow down a little bit towards the end of the fight for sure. But I think he gutted it out in the last couple of rounds to get enough to get him enough points. Maybe if it's 1 point, 2 point, but I think he did enough to win the fight. I thought Lamont Roach was no easy fight, though. Lamont Roach was taking everything to Tank and just giving it right back. Mm-hmm. Tank was hitting him with some mean shots, some clean shots.
He was, no question.
And he just sat there, took it, didn't back up, didn't back down. He just kept coming right at him, kept throwing shots. And he was hitting Tank with some good shots, too, which a lot of people think, at some point Tank got hurt in the fight. I truthfully didn't see it that way. I truthfully thought, a couple punches definitely caught Tank off guard. Mm-hmm. But I don't really see him being hurt during the fight. I think Lamont Roach got more hurt during the fight than Tank did. I know Lamont Roach did land more punches when it comes to, I think, jabs and body shots. You almost
call that a draw, because it was like 8 punches difference.
Yeah, but he won in 2 categories out of 3, though, so you got to give it to him.
Fair enough.
Even though it was just by 5 each, he still won 2 out of 3. So that's enough to win anything. So I don't know. It should have been a draw. You?
I didn't really watch the fight. I came in
he did come
a minute into 10th. Yeah. Well, from what I saw, from the 10th to end, I felt like Lamont won those rounds.
You thought the Roach won those rounds that you saw?
10, 11,
the ones
and 12?
that I saw, I felt. I don't know about. I don't know what happened a minute before in 10, 11. I want to say Lamont Roach won it. I know for sure he won that last. I felt like he won that last round.
I'd give 11 to Tank.
Interesting, because that last round, I know Prime, who showed it, Larry Hazard, who I got a lot of respect for, was scoring the fight, and I think Hazard actually scored that last round for Tank. But I'm in kind of agreement with Aaron. I thought that was a very close round. Could have went either way. If I had a pick, I almost would say, yeah, I thought that Roach eked out that last round as well. It just was one of those fights that, honestly, as Isiah stated, it being a draw, no one, in my opinion, can really complain about that. It just was such a close fight. Even the punch stats ended up being extremely close in that fight. I thought both guys hurt each other. I thought that Tank was hurt a few times with some of the shots. It was even a brief moment where I was like, Tank might not get out of here. I never really felt that way, to be honest with you, and this is surprising, but I never really felt that Roach was in serious trouble. I know there was one hellacious shot that I thought Tank landed on Roach, and it looked like he buzzed him a little bit, but I really didn't feel like I didn't feel like he was in a whole lot of trouble throughout the fight, which was very, very interesting. One of the things that also happened that was critical in the fight was, controversial in the fight was it was very bizarre. At one point, I don't know what happened. Tank just goes down to one knee, and he was down for not even a second. He went to the knee, gets back up, and just goes to his corner.
Straight to the corner.
I thought he was going to run out the ring. That's what I thought. I said, he gave up. Can you believe this?
No.
And he just went to the corner, and they wiped his face down.
Mm-hmm. Said he got his hair done 2 days before.
Right, this was after.
And the product was getting his eyes and everything. But the crazy thing about that is, I ain't really see too much people really get on Tank about that as much as they should.
About what?
The knee. About getting on the knee and whether or not it should have been a knockdown. Because in my opinion, the knockdown would have determined whether Roach would have won the fight or not.
Yes.
So, as I'm seeing all the posts, reading all the comments,
yes.
a lot of these people are kind of on Tank's side almost. A lot of these people kind of like, I understand, it hurt your eyes and everything like that. In my personal opinion, I said it then, I'll say it now, I don't think it was a knockdown. Just because of the simple fact of he backed up way after the fact. He took a knee and got right back up. So it's not like he was hurt, kind of like the Ryan Garcia fight where he hit Ryan Garcia in the gut. Ryan Garcia took some steps back, and then he took a knee, if you remember that. But Ryan didn't get back up. Ryan was down.
Question.
He wanted the count.
But I understand what you're saying, but unfortunately the rule in boxing is certainly after a punch, which Roach did throw a jab at him. It didn't look like it was any hard shot at all, but you have to score that a knockdown. I mean, if you go back, Floyd's, I think, only knockdown of his career came from him punching his opponent, and his hand hurt so bad that he just took a knee. The guy didn't hit him.
He punched the opponent, then took a knee?
Yes.
And they call that a knockdown?
Yes,
Even though I threw the punch at you?
Yes, you have to.
That don't make no
That's
type
the
of
rules
sense.
of boxing.
I throw a punch, and I hurt my hand. And he doesn't hit me back. I just back up and take a knee. That's a knockdown?
That's the rules of the sport.
He did not touch me.
What are you gonna take a break?
He didn't touch me.
Correct.
That's a break.
Right. So to use your analogy, that's a great point. Aaron stated. So if we're boxing and you're just a little bit winded, you're a little bit tired. We exchange boom 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 boom. Nobody really got hurt, but we just both threw a lot of punches. And you back up and you be like, hold on a second, and you go down on one knee. I didn't.
That's
hurt
not
you.
reasonable.
What do you mean?
That's not just because I'm tired.
Well, that's what. How do we know that's what Tank didn't do?
Huh? Because Tank ran straight to the corner.
Why do we know he wasn't tired?
I don't think that's what happened.
We don't know
I
that.
don't know what to say.
We don't know that. He could have been same thing. He could have been like, hold on, I need a few seconds. Because that's what it does kind of look like. Like, for some reason, like, I'm not ready to fight. And he just goes out on one knee and then goes to his corner. Like,
so you giving him a knockdown? If you're the ref in the situation? So if you're the ref in the Floyd Mayweather situation, you're going to give Floyd the knockdown too?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
And they scored it a knockdown. You have to.
You take a knee, you're taking a break.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. You have to continue fighting. So anytime anybody wants to take a break, you can't. That's not the NBA. You can't call timeout. You have to fight. Once the bell rings, you got to go. It's go time. So I think that was a mistake on the referee's part. That should have been called a knockdown, and that would have, gave him the win. But you mentioned something that's going to go right into my next kind of topic. It's kind of important. You mentioned the fans. The fans, a lot of people are not necessarily complaining about that ruling.
Mm-hmm. On social media, at least. The stadium went crazy.
But now, I want to look at another perspective about that, and this is important. for the sport of boxing. I got into a little bit on social media this morning about this. In terms of, and you guys are, this is really good for you guys to have a different perspective than I do about fans and the sport of boxing. You know, how do you guys feel about Tank getting in there? Even though you didn't see the fight, you know that it was a difficult task for him. There's a lot of talk about Tank, Shakur Stevenson, Tank Tiafimo, Tank, a lot of different people is on the table that we want to see them fight. So when you have a fight like this in which Tank is perceived, which I don't perceive, he's human, but these fighters are perceived as being like superhuman, and then he had a tough fight. Does that affect your perspective on future fights or what you think about him, Aaron?
No, not. I don't think so. Maybe the guy was just off his game that night, or he just really had a bad fight. But I feel like in Tank's situation, I feel like this fight does show, like,
Be careful.
I feel like this fight does show that not that he'll be beat by the top guys in the division, but you know he better be careful or he might. He's not knocked out, but he might get outboxed because, like, he almost did by Lamont Roach. And would you say there's better boxers than Lamont Roach in the division?
Yes.
So clearly, that could be a problem if he doesn't knock the guy out. So
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. But I'm gonna let you answer too. But that didn't change for me because of what Roach did. It was obvious to me before tonight that Tank could be outboxed. And I think he would tell you that, like, Shakur can outbox me, but I'm going to knock him out. I think that's always been his kind of perspective. So for me, it didn't change anything necessarily. How about you?
No, I agree with you because that's Tank's style. Tank don't, especially, Tank don't really win a lot of the first rounds. You don't really see that too often, at least.
Yes.
But then, once he figures you out by like 5, 6, and so on until you eventually get knocked down or knocked out, then that's when he starts winning. I don't know. In my opinion, I don't really think Tank was. I don't really think that he took this fight as serious as he should have. Everybody wants to talk about, oh yeah, they're friends. He didn't really want to hurt his friend or nothing like that. And I can understand that, but my whole thing is that Tank that we seen in the ring just now is not the Tank that we've seen over countless amount of times. He's made so many mistakes that
I don't know about that either.
I don't know. I think it is.
I've never seen Tank do that before. I
think it is because he did. Well, I didn't watch the fight, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like, was it kind of like the Raleigh fight?
Like, honestly, not. You're
like,
right. I'm not gonna say it's not really was. And somebody was saying that the other day. We're gonna get into that in a few minutes about one of the shows that we listened to. And you had said that last night was in the car, that because they were talking about I think it was the Raleigh fight they were talking about, and you said Tank wasn't necessarily winning that fight early on either. Tank a lot of times, and I'm a big fan of Tank. But Tank he's not, his goal and perspective is not necessarily to go out there and dominate from a boxing standpoint and win rounds. One thing about Tank I do give him a lot of credit for is that he is actually setting stuff up. Mm-hmm. He's not just losing rounds to lose rounds. I'm losing rounds because I know what I'm doing. I know how I'm setting stuff up, which I think does a really good job of doing that. As far as him being in shape,
he didn't look
I
as
don't
good
think
as
he
we've
was.
seen him.
Yes, I don't think he was in his best shape that we've ever seen him. More than anything, I do think that Tank is just my second thought, if you would. I just think that Tank is coming to a point where he talks a lot, and he even's been talking about it. I think you sent me something today where he's saying again, I only want to fight 4 more times. Mm-hmm. He's really talking a lot about the end. All my years of watching boxing, whenever I see a fighter start talking about the end and, only got 2 more fights left, and that's usually a no-no. That's usually a very bad sign when they start talking that way. I just think Tank, right now, it could change. I just think that he's very frustrated with the whole perspective of being a professional boxer, and that's going to take me to my next question. And this is going on in all the sports. For some reason, this seems to be a hot topic, and that's the face-off. We've heard this about basketball. I guess we'll address both, but also on boxing. So just from a boxing standpoint, I think that it's very a lot of pressure, and it's very heavy for anybody to hold that title of the face of any sport. And I think that Tank is very close to having an opportunity to hold that title of face of boxing. First of all, would you guys agree with that? And if not, who do you guys see as being the face of boxing at this time? Isiah, you're going to go first.
I don't know. It's hard to say because when you think of face of boxing, you think popularity.
Yes.
You think one of the best in the business for sure, and you think somebody who's dominant.
Sounds like Tank Davis to me.
I know, but damn, I really don't. If it's not Tank, I don't know who I would give it to. So I would say Tank. Maybe Canelo. I can still give it to Canelo.
He certainly is holding the torch. I just think that it's about that time for him to pass it. I think Canelo.
You think, but then Tank's talking about retirement. But the thing is, though, the pound for pound top guys, not a lot of people know who these guys are. Who's at the top of the list right now? Maybe Crawford, maybe Bivol, maybe Beterbiev. None of those guys are household names. And sorry, Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is probably one of the best boxers in the world right now, but he's not. I don't think he can be the face of boxing.
Why?
A lot of people like to say it's because of his track record.
What do you mean?
Who's he fought?
I'm with that. Aaron, face of boxing is Tank Davis.
Yeah, I said Tank, but I think in the future, you might not like this. I think it could be Ryan Garcia though in the future.
I think so too.
Because he has a massive following.
No.
I see it.
I think he blew up after beating up Devin Haney, but it's unfortunate he got suspended.
He blew up before that too because of.
I think if he keeps going on his path and he keeps beating up these world-class champions, I think he can. I think he can really do something.
You know what, Aaron? You said I would get upset. I would be upset, but it's the truth. I'm not gonna lie. There's no doubt. I think that Ryan Garcia definitely, if he was to get in there now, I think they're very close to signing the rematch. If he gets in there and puts it on Devin again, and he maybe fights a Tank and beats him, there's no question. Because that criteria that you marked off is perfect.
Yeah.
It's talent.
It's talent. It's popularity.
Popularity. What was the third one you said?
Dominance.
And dominance. He actually checks those boxes. And the fourth thing I would add in there, you just got to be a little weird.
A little crazy?
Yeah, you got to be a little crazy. Let's be honest. Most of the faces they're a little bit off in their own ways. And clearly Ryan Garcia is a little off. And so he would check all four boxes. So I actually do agree with you on that one. Before we leave boxing, let's get to Bivol Beterbiev. I think we all saw that one.
Yeah.
Your take on that? I'll go first again. Tremendous rematch. I love rematches, and it's indicative of this podcast, this little show that we have. Second thought. On second thought, Bivol made all the necessary adjustments. Just a brilliant. That's one of the more brilliant rematches I've ever seen because. I was very concerned for him. Like, I was very concerned because I was like, well, what more can he do? He made a very good case to win that first fight. Mm-hmm. And for him to win the second fight, I said, for him to be different, he was going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. He couldn't box better than what he boxed. Only thing that's going to stand out to make the fight different would have been, I need to be more aggressive. Unfortunately, him being more aggressive against Beterbiev would mean one thing.
He gets knocked out.
He's going to get knocked out. And that's why I was concerned for him. But they did it in a very strategic way. I thought he came out the first couple of rounds. He won those rounds boxing. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but then the early part of the second, third, maybe the fourth, he kind of just
faded away a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of faded away a little bit and let Beterbiev take the lead, which he did. And he seemed like he kind of shot his load a little bit, and by the fifth, sixth round, he was on it. And I agree. By the fifth, sixth round, Bivol picked back up, and he just really gained confidence. And I thought that that second half of the fight was a masterpiece. Just a really good fight by Bivol. Really excellent rematch. I don't think there's any question in my mind. That was a clear decision. I don't think. Do you guys agree?
No, I agree. I agree with that. It was a clear decision. I think Beterbiev really just had balls, rematching someone like Beterbiev, considering of what happened.
I totally agree.
I think he did box a good fight in the first one, and I felt like there wasn't much more that he could do in the first fight.
Yes.
I feel like if he came in the same way, just like a little bit more aggressive, but obviously the risk of
It's risky.
getting knocked out.
Yeah, risky.
But
Risky.
I felt like he had a lot of confidence going into it.
Bivol?
And yeah,
Surprisingly,
No,
I
no,
agree
no.
with you.
Bivol
Yeah.
really wanted
did.
that one.
He
It's
did.
like he set his whole life determined.
yeah,
I
it's
think
like,
so, too.
yeah,
I
he was
agree.
really determined to get this guy. And
I agree.
I think honestly, Bivol might be the best boxer on the planet right now.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen
Yeah.
a better boxer yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna have to
Not
say he's the
today.
best boxer. No, I agree with that. And certainly in terms of his competition too.
Mhm.
This is and I think I'm gonna get into that in a minute. But let me get your perspective on Beterbiev and Bivol.
I mean, I said it since day one. Bivol was gonna win.
Mhm.
I thought he won the last fight. I thought he was, even though it was a risk, I think he was more aggressive this fight coming out.
Mm-hmm.
He did take his couple of rounds off. Let Beterbiev. I don't know if that was a strategic thing to tire him out or,
Yeah.
try to figure him out a bit more. But, after that, I mean, he just washed him the rest of the fight. I know Beterbiev is not really happy with the.
No, he's kind of hot about it.
He's not at all
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
with the
yeah,
the
he's
results. So
hot
we
about
might
it.
see a 3.
I think we have to.
You gotta do.
And you know what? To finish that point, I think it's important for these guys to fight good competition. I think we've seen it happen with last night with Tank and Roach. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Roach. He fought a good fight. But this is what happens to me when you mess around and you don't make the fights that the fans want to see. Then you get in there against a guy like Roach, and no disrespect to Roach. But now the fans are running their mouth. Oh, Tank ain't that good. He's not that. We knew he wasn't that good. That's unfair to Tank, and it's unfair to Roach because Tank is a human being, and sometimes so I saw somebody say like, "Can you believe that Roach stood in there and went blow for it and was traded?" So what? So what? Give Roach credit. Not everybody in the world is going to get knocked out just because Tank punched him in the face. Some people, there's a lot of guys that can take it. So, but what happens is that to me, it takes the juice off of, unfairly, it takes the juice off of Shakur, versus Tank. People start now like, oh yeah, we don't want to see that now. So it's just important to me that in boxing, you got to start to make, you need to make these fights. It's really, really an important thing. The other thing is, the other day we was listening to the morning show here in New York with Charlemagne and DJ Envy. And they had a couple of guests on there that I wanted to kind of touch on a few of their points. They had Ak and Barack. So it was pretty interesting. I mean, they have a new show called Ring Champs. It's on All the Smoke. Very, very interesting perspective that they had. Of course, they talked about the fight. But one of the things that I want to really get into with you guys, because they seem to be a little bit younger than me, just like you guys, and their perspective about developing the sport. And all you guys out there that's listening, I know we have different range of ages that listen. And I'm curious to know, what's your perspective on developing the sport? Charlemagne Negard, I have to meet this dude because he and I was of the same age group, and I can tell our perspective about how to grow the sport is very similar. And he asked a really good question, and I'm always talking about this. Some of you young guys don't understand. But he talked about HBO. And these guys know because I talk about HBO all the time. And how HBO and Showtime really develop boxing. And because we don't have that anymore, to develop these fights, to me, is a little bit of a problem. And we don't have that. So I would like to get your perspective on, I know you guys are more streaming and you guys are much more on, social media. What do you guys see as being the thing that can really grow the sport, grow young fighters? It's almost unfair. You got this young guy, Roach. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I heard of him, but I didn't really know who he was like that. We need to start building these fights up to where there's some excitement about that. Tank kind of carried the promotion, to tell you the truth. That's why people figured, oh, the Tank is going to watch this guy out. But that's not true. So what would you guys say would be the thing that needs to be done to build the sport of boxing?
I think
To the
boxing.
fans. Go ahead.
I think they just need to get rid of all the belts, and just have one belt for each division. Kind of like how the
One
UFC
belt
does
for
it.
each division.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree
One
with
belt.
that. Yeah, I
That's
agree.
what the UFC. The UFC
Yeah.
has one belt. They have obviously the world heavyweight, and they have an interim belt.
Mhm.
the goal is to get to the world heavyweight champion, and you kind of have these almost super fights like every single time that this guy fights.
In UFC?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
almost it's like at least to me, like because I know how
same.
good some of these guys are that they're fighting. Like they don't be fighting the bums because they're the champion,
Right.
and it's only one.
They only have one belt?
They only have one belt per
Okay.
division.
Mhm.
Like that that's major,
Mhm.
and they're kind of just everybody's gunning for it. So even if it's not a title, like you have two of the best guys in the division that's not holding a championship. They're fighting
For the number one contender.
for the number one contender to get. So like
To fight the champion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes you have that, like you have a big fight and it's not even for
Got
the
it.
title.
I understand.
And then you have an even bigger fight for the
Understand.
title. I think they should be doing that.
That makes sense.
And that gets you even more juiced up knowing that.
Like no matter whoever the champ fights, it's not gonna be no bump. Like
No, I totally agree
like
with that.
unfortunately, like I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, but like some of these champions,
Let's be honest.
they just be fighting.
Right.
Some random people.
Or sometimes the guy,
People I
let's
don't
be
know.
honest, the guy that holds the belt, you don't even know who that is now, also in boxing as
Yeah,
well. Let's be
yeah.
honest, because there's so many belts.
I can get behind that. 'Cause I feel like some of these guys, when they got championship, they get like real greedy with it. They be like, oh, we want you to fight this guy. Who? I'm not fighting him. I'm the champ. I want to fight this guy, and it's gonna be some fight that nobody wants to see. So I can understand that point, and I would love to do that too. I don't know. Trying to build up boxing is just very difficult. So I don't really know what to do besides that, because that's a really, really, really good idea. I like that idea. I don't really know what you can do besides try to have some good fights every week. I think last year we went on a whole dry spell of no big dude was fighting until like January.
What do you think we can do to, okay, like you said, let's look at that. You having fights on every week. What can we do to make sure that people are going to watch that? Because that's where HBO had that platform. Everybody knew, on Saturday, 10 o'clock, 9:45, everybody knew just turn on HBO. We didn't even know sometimes who was fighting. Some people didn't even, but you knew 9:45, Saturday night, HBO was doing it. And that's how you got to know all of these fighters.
Right.
So is there something that you think would work, like streaming, or is there something you guys think would work?
They're already trying that with all these new apps
Yeah,
that
like
they.
not
Amazon,
working.
DAZN,
It's not
and
working.
whatnot.
But that's what I'm
What
saying.
do you-
Like,
you-
if that's
they're
not
not
gonna
gonna
work,
stream on, like,
then
no
I don't think
Instagram,
anything else
TikTok.
is gonna really work.
They just need better promotions, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They need something that'll attract some random Joe. Be like, yo, nah, these guys are wild, and they talking crazy and this and that. Because boxing has a lot of really, really, really good young talent
Yes.
that nobody knows.
And that's unfair.
Tiger Johnson, who we've seen a couple times, he's a really good fighter. Nobody knows who that is.
That's
Abdullah
not
Mason
right.
is an upcoming name.
Very good.
Nobody knows him. Dynamite Lopez is
Dynamite
another
Lopez.
oncoming name.
Dynamite
Nobody
Lopez.
knows him.
Shout out to Alonzo. Dynamite Lopez is his guy. So yeah, definitely.
What's his name? What's his name? I know his name. Bruce Shushu Carrington.
Shushu
He should get
Carrington.
so
Shout out
much
to
more
Bruce Shushu
recognition
Carrington.
than
Absolutely.
what he has right now.
Absolutely, and he's doing about as good as all of those guys we just mentioned in terms of getting his recognition. But they deserve more, and they should be getting more. And that's the part that's really bothering me. I know that that's another thing that Ak and Barak talked about, and they were big on him. And this actually involves Tank, and that's the Sheik over in Saudi. The Sheik is just throwing a lot of money at these boxers. And so right this time, he is able to push a lot of fights through. But I think it's interesting because I feel in my mind at some point, I guess you take it when it's there, but at some point, the Sheik's going to even back out. I know he's got more money than God. Everybody's just saying that. But even at some point, everybody's kind of like, I'm losing $20 million a fight. I can't keep doing that. And so I believe this is not the first time there has been somebody who's done this before. Believe it or not, Al Heyman was doing that as well. Maybe not to the levels of the Sheik. He didn't have that type of money. But Al Heyman was doing that as well with PBC. That's why everybody was running to PBC when Al came on the scene, because he was also subsidizing the fighters and giving them extra money. But you've seen him even kind of pull back like, yo, there's too much. I can't keep doing that. And it's interesting because Tank is like, they asked him about the Sheik, and he was like, yeah, I'm not really with that. I don't feel comfortable with, what's going on with that. I kind of respect that, and I think that, again, I will go back to say the face of boxing, whoever the face of anything in sports is very, very important. And I'm going to pivot that one just right now to talk about the face of basketball. This has been, I don't know what's going on this week that's been a huge topic, but the face of basketball, we'll end it with that. What do you guys think about that? I know there's some names that have been coming up. There's been some great debate about it. I think it started with Ant-Man, and Anthony just said, I don't care what it is, I don't want no part of that. Right. Well, who do you guys think? Because let me just say also, the face of any sport is not chosen. That's something that is just a title that you earn and no one can give it to you. It's just bestowed. It just kind of happens. So who do you guys in basketball see as being able to have that title?
Currently, or you mean like in the next 5 years?
Well, you can say that. That's fine. If you
Currently,
want to say
I think it'll always be LeBron James.
Well, he has it still right now. I totally agree.
But in the next 5 years, I mean, there's a couple names you can give it to. But the crazy part is, I think all of them are not from here.
Okay.
I think SGA could be one. I think Giannis can be one. I think Wemby can be one. And depending on if this guy is healthy, it'll be one of the first guys. I think Zion has a really good shot at it.
No.
It depends on if he's healthy. Zion will always...
Pretty big if.
I know it's a pretty big if, but Zion is honestly probably one of the most hyped up prospects, one of the best prospects of all time. And as despite how many times he gets injured, when he comes back, all eyes are still on him. Yeah. What can he do? I think he just had a 27-point triple-double the other night. He can still play really, really good basketball. So if he's healthy and can play multiple seasons, he has a really good shot at being the next face of the league.
I actually agree with that. But
Aaron? You guys are forgetting about Joel Embiid.
Are you serious?
Are you being real?
What are you talking about?
Okay. Joel Embiid?
Yeah, stop it.
Yeah.
Let's not forget this guy gave us 50 in the playoffs.
Let's not forget this guy almost has more games missed than played.
And when he plays, you always drag him with the when he came back that one day, what 30-point triple-double?
Exactly. He should be playing, but he doesn't play. That's your face of the league? Somebody that don't show up to work?
I'm talking about in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years? Okay, I'll give you that.
You're saying if he's healthy, he can carry that?
Yes, if he's healthy, he'll be the MVP of the league.
Well, he almost won the MVP.
He has one.
Okay.
He's not going to get another one.
Who else you got?
Giannis. Wait, you don't think? Shea. Victor Wembanyama has a good chance. See who else? I mean, I could rock with you on the Zion. Anthony Edwards, regardless if he wants it or not, he's going to be the face of the league.
I totally agree. He's got a very good shot.
See who else? Young stars? I don't know.
I'm going to agree, and I didn't really think about that until you said that, but I'm going to agree. And I'm going to have to agree with you too. I don't think it's going to happen because just injury-wise, but if Zion can get himself together, he actually... No one is saying it. It's a very good point by you. I think he actually has a very good chance. Because him coming out of Duke, we haven't seen that in many years. A college player coming out. That used to happen a lot when I was, younger. But we haven't seen that. Where college players coming out with that type of fanfare. Mm-hmm. He was so popular. I mean, he had NBA guys going to the Duke game to watch him play. And he was doing it. Like, he wasn't disappointing. So it was very disappointing for him to come to the league and be injured, but I agree with you. If he can get himself together, I think Zion Williamson, he's such a spectacular player, a phenom to watch. He definitely has a shot to be the face of the league. I'm not so sure I agree with you guys on the foreigners.
Really?
I don't think they can do it.
I think the foreigners are taking over the league right now.
I think that, let me be clear, I really am a huge fan. He's starting to become one of my favorite players. SGA is unbelievable. He's a really good, but I don't think he can be the face of the league. So his personality is very laid back. He's a nice kid. He goes to the press conference. He don't talk trash. He's very, very, subdued guy. But he can really freaking play. I would love to see him get the MVP this year. I don't think he can be the face of the league.
He could. He's popular with us.
I don't know. Maybe.
So what's your top three then for most likely to be MVP in the next 5 years?
I think Anthony Edwards has a good shot at it. But you guys not gonna like this. But I do think Anthony Anthony Edwards is going to have to, if not win the title, he's going to have to go to the finals. If he does that and continues the way that he's been playing, and believe it or not, because he's a bit controversial, the guy was suspended because he's too many. Wake up, let's go.
Too much.
He's talking too much.
And they fined him
wake up.
$35K.
Yeah, so I think he definitely has a shot at it. As you said, Zion has a shot at it. I don't know about Wemby. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he can do it.
Wemby's another one of the most hyped up.
Why would you not think
The
that?
same thing, because Wemby, very similar to Shea, very nice kid. Just comes and does his job. He almost reminds me, and ironically, he's on the San Antonio Spurs. He reminds me a lot of Tim Duncan, and Tim Duncan was never even close to becoming the face of the league.
Yeah, but here's the difference. Tim Duncan wasn't. How tall is Victor?
7'5".
He's not. He wasn't 7'5". If you're
Well,
listen to me. If you're 7'5", popping threes from the logo, and
Right.
you know that's what kids do today.
If you're
you know that we
7'5",
do that today.
if you're
And this kid's 7'5" doing that.
He's 7'5" and can do most things a guard can.
I don't.
You
That's
know he's gonna be popular.
ridiculous.
I don't see Wemby being. Again, I could be wrong. That's why we're
If
having
he-
the conversation.
that's
But
what I'm
I don't
saying.
see Wemby being the face of the league.
Yeah, if
But a lot of
he
these
wins a
guys-
championship and MVP, he will definitely
Yeah,
be
it's
the
over.
face of the league.
But a lot of these guys very quietly talk smack. SGA, if SGA cooks somebody in a game, you go to Instagram, the first post you'll see is a clip of him just cooking their best player on the team with some snappy little caption.
Yeah, but I'm talking about.
You need
I'm
somebody
talking
to-
about how they go to the press conference and how they. Anthony Edwards has that thing, where Anthony is very cocky, and it is what it is. And I think that's what makes him, for me, to kind of stand out a little bit. I definitely don't think it's Giannis.
Why not? Why definitely?
It's not going to be.
I don't know.
If
Why
Giannis didn't
definitely?
already get the title of being face of the league, I don't see him, being
He's
that.
an MVP champ.
No, he did. That one year, that what, 2021?
Championship
no,
year?
I'm bugging. When did they play Phoenix?
21, right? I think 21 because Golden State won 22.
I don't.
Yeah, 21. He was definitely the face of the league that year. He ran the league. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew he ran the
No
league.
stopping.
I don't see Giannis being in the face of the league. I actually concede it, and this is my dark horse. But again, it would depend on how well he does in the playoffs, and he also, to me, has to be a little bit more consistent, obviously, and stay healthy, and that's going to be Ja Morant. I think he has an opportunity
No.
to do it.
Jaws lost all respect for the league after his whole shenanigans.
Absolutely.
With
yeah.
what?
What do you mean
being in
with
trouble?
what?
Being in
Yeah.
trouble? Okay, but that's what I
They-
just
I'm
said.
not, no, listen. I'm not mentioning that. I
No,
just think
but
as
that's a huge factor.
yeah, okay. But if that didn't happen, I just think as
Yes.
a basketball player, he would.
He's
doesn't-
not that good. You said
No, no, I'm not. Hold on.
Wait,
Now,
wait,
hold on.
wait,
See,
wait, wait, wait,
see, now hold on.
Wait.
Hold on. I didn't say he's not that good.
Okay.
I'm saying I don't think he's like on that different type of level to where he could be called the face of the league. He's an outstanding player. I just don't think he can get the title of face of the league just based off his skill set.
Ja Morant top 10 in the league?
Right now,
Yes.
come on. No.
Ja Morant's not top 10 in the league?
And don't make me pull out the list.
Pull up your list.
Don't make me pull it I'm pulling
Who
out
was
the
we
list.
arguing about last night?
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell.
I might have to put
I
Donovan
might
Mitchell.
have to run that back on a Donovan Mitchell tape from
You
the other
said
day.
who's better, Donovan Mitchell or Ja Morant?
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
And with that, that's the second thought. That's going to be second thought. I don't want to keep you guys too long. We will be right here with you guys again for another episode. So we signed for at least about 5 episodes, so we're gonna keep doing this. Good information. I'll see you guys again next week. Second thought.
On second thought.
On second thought.